Hey everybody! Hello, and welcome to SUNation World Headquarters in the beautiful Ronkonkoma, New York. So we're here today. We had a lot of people talking about the Tesla Powerwalls. So we thought this would be a good maiden voyage to try and answer some Q&A. With me is Phil Santangelo, okay, who is one of our service representatives and very well versed in Tesla Powerwalls, and Mike Donato, who is from our engineering department, who will answer all the technical questions. I will talk mostly about the positioning of SUNation, Tesla Powerwall, why you should do it, why you know, what applications are good, what applications are not. And at any time you feel like you have questions, feel free to type them in there, and we will answer them as many as we can. So let's start with this. Is the Tesla Powerwall. As you can see, this is a live version of the Tesla Powerwall. It is about that thick, and it goes down. It's about this tall. Ironically, this Tesla Powerwall weighs about 251 pounds, which is one of those things that we really have to take into consideration when we're doing an installation of a Tesla Powerwall. You know, it's kind of bulky, it's tough, it's full of batteries, and batteries are heavy, and even the efficient ones are very heavy. So we have to make sure on the installation side that we take advantage of solid walls, footings, things like that. So who's on? So we got a bunch of people on. That's awesome. When do I see the questions?
They'll come up.
Okay. All right. So again, feel free to ask questions, as you know. But so the Tesla Powerwall is a super cool backup power source for your house. I can tell you this much: it's in the early adopter phase of deployment, much the same way that solar was probably 15 years ago. But it's really catching on, and listen. At the end of the day, this thing is at this point right now, it's a convenience. It gives you a lot of power. Tesla has pretty much branded the market. There are other manufacturers out there that are racing towards it, but the same way that Elon Musk has sort of put the coolest cars out there, and to this day, his cars still run further than everybody else's cars. The Tesla Powerwall is the coolest battery backup system out there. His software, his platform is really neat. So, you know, he's sort of branded. The Tesla Powerwall 2 is sort of branded now as the industry standard. It's really cool. That's kind of why SUNation adopted it. When you think of bleach, you think of Clorox. And when you think of tissues, you think of Kleenex. Well, when you think of battery storage for your home, you think of Tesla Powerwall. So that's why we partnered up with Tesla. We're very excited. We're installing more Tesla Powerwalls than anybody else on Long Island, which is super cool. So a little bit about its capabilities. This Tesla Powerwall is 13.5 kilowatt hours of capacity. So you may say, what is a kilowatt hour of capacity? A kilowatt hour is 1,000 watts burning for 1 hour. So if you think of the old days of a 100-watt light bulb, think about 10 light bulbs burning at the same time for an hour. That is 1 kilowatt. All right, so that's exactly what a kilowatt hour is. This one is 13.5 kilowatt hours, and what's really kind of made the Tesla Powerwall cool right now is a few months ago, NYSERDA, New York State Energy Research Development, added in a rebate. So it was kind of floundering for a while because it's not a cheap, listen, it's not the cheapest thing in the world to do a Tesla Powerwall. It's an expensive convenience, but it's cool to have backup power. And any of you that went through Sandy like I did and was out of power for 13 days, it's nice to have it without a generator, without having to put gas in. But it's really important to manage expectations and understand what it can do. But again, what happened was we got a rebate a few months ago, and we have one question that wasn't typed in. So let me tell you about the rebate. The rebate right now from NYSERDA is for this Powerwall for 13,500 kilowatts, it's $250 per kilowatt hour. So that would equate to one Powerwall being $3,375 back. And most Powerwall installations are kind of two Powerwalls, so it caps out at 25 kilowatt hours, and that would mean a full rebate of $6,250. That is not a tax credit, that is a rebate that comes right off the top. This is also subject to the 26% federal tax credit as well. So we can talk about, net costs and things like that. One of the questions that keeps coming up is, I have an existing solar system. Can I add a Powerwall? The answer is yes. But it's site specific. It's super important that the engineering team gets to look at it. I hate to use blanket, yes for this, yes for that. It's really kind of site specific. One of the caveats of getting the rebate from NYSERDA is that you put 1 watt of solar. So the rebate is really strategically designed for new solar and battery storage systems. However, we have a way around that. I'm not seeing the questions coming up on.
We got one right here from Gina.
Okay, why are they fading out?
What would the cost be after credit?
Okay, so for a single Powerwall or one?
And while we're waiting for that answer, just another point to add. If you do have an existing system and you're looking to add a Powerwall, the best thing to do would be to contact us, to have one of our site evaluators come and check out your existing system, evaluate your house, and come up with a course of action to see how we can incorporate a Powerwall in. So go ahead and reach out to us and we can get that.
All right, so listen, without getting into specifics, I'll give you ballpark numbers. So a single Powerwall, a single Powerwall is about $14,000 for a standard installation. All right, with that would come off the $3,375 and then the 26% tax credit. That would leave you with a balance of about $6,000 or $7,000, which is sort of in line with if you bought a generator and you had a generator installed without the fuel. Now, it's important to. Again, it's important to manage the expectations of the homeowner on what this thing can do in the event of a power outage. And what we preach here is that this is a relationship between you and the Powerwall. We're just bystanders with the installation company. We sell this and we install this as a whole house solution. That being said, if you go, if your load on the house is huge and you have, the dryer going and the pool pump and all this other stuff, it's going to take the battery and go wham, and you'll be to zero in no time flat. There's a super cool website, that Tesla has where you can actually kind of punch in things and it'll tell you, if you do toast in the morning and then in the afternoon you do this, you do that, this is how long it's going to last. But the most important thing is that this is not grid power. This has limitations. The same way that your fuel tank in your car has X amount of gasoline in it, and yes, you will go to the station, refill it, and solar will replenish this thing. But at the end of the day, if your foot is down to the floor, you're going to suck gas, and you're not going to go as far. So we're very specific in making sure that you understand that that you have a relationship now that in the event of a power failure, you really have to manage your power and what you're using to get the maximum amount of time.
That being a question in here.
Okay. So many people. This is so much fun.
Tom is asking, is the Powerwall continuously charging even when power is out?
So that's a good question. So why don't you let Mike do a little technical side of this?
Yeah, so as long as there's solar energy coming in, the Powerwall will charge. If the Powerwall has enough power to output power, to export power to your system, it'll turn on, it'll provide energy to your system. Once the Powerwall is depleted to a point where it needs to go into recovery mode, it'll shut down and the solar will continue to charge it until it's ready to come back online again. So it can perpetually, during a long power outage, continue to charge itself and cycle through that.
But even during the day, Mike, even during the day, so let's say your Tesla wall is at 25% and there's really nobody home, but there are still some things running in the house and whatnot.
Yeah.
So the app and the software platform will take from the solar system, and it'll take from the solar system, send what it needs to the house for net metering, but it'll also send to the battery all the excess back into the battery. Right?
That's correct. Yeah, anything that the house is not consuming will go towards charging the battery. Once the battery is fully charged, it will actually shut off the solar. It'll remain topped out until you consume enough energy to kick the solar back on again.
Right.
So it manages itself in that regard, so that it doesn't produce more electricity than it can handle.
So Steve DeLuca asked, we had our system put in last year at the end of the August, beginning of September, 43 panels. Big system, love that. Now interested in adding on the Tesla, being told I have to purchase another panel that I don't need in order to get the rebate. So that is accurate. That's how NYSERDA set this up, that you have to add a watt. But more than likely, if it was just done last year, we may be able to take one of your panels. Let's say you put up a 365 watt panel on your roof. We may be able to just change that to a 370 watt panel. And this is why I'm saying everything is site specific, which is why we send engineers. When you're interested in a Powerwall, step one is we want you to understand its capabilities. We want you to understand everything about it. But then when it comes time to talk about your installation and your pricing, we don't really send out a sales guy. We send out a technician that can understand where it's going to go in the house, how long is the pipe run, what it's going to do, what the loads are that it's going to service. So the answer to that is there's a lot of answers to, do I have to add another panel? At the end of the day, what we don't want to do is upset the whole thing, but we have another way of adding a panel in just strictly for the solar system, just strictly for the Tesla Powerwall as well. You have another question?
I do, from Tom again. So does the Powerwall allow us to come off grid altogether? Does the Powerwall automatically switch? Oh, we lost it there. During a power outage.
Yeah, I can speak to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Tesla backup gateway, which is an important part of the system, it's not shown here, but it's another panel that looks similar to your house's main distribution panel. Inside there is an automatic relay. And when it senses an interruption in grid power, what it does is it disconnects the house from the grid completely. And that allows the solar to continue to producing, and it acts as what's referred to as a standalone system. That allows us to keep the solar on. Typically, when you just have regular solar on your house that's grid interfaced, during a grid outage, your solar shuts off for safety, for line workers.
Anti-islanding.
Exactly. So, but with the Tesla backup gateway, we're actually able to create an island of power in your house where the solar is charging the battery and providing electricity to the loads in the house, and without any danger to grid workers or anything like that.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah, and then also at the end of the outage, when grid power is detected again, the Tesla battery will also seamlessly transfer back to the grid power. Basically what happens is you get a grid outage, you don't even notice in your house. It happens so fast that it transfers to Powerwall power that your lights don't even flicker. And then
But you will get a notification on your app that says, hey, we just jumped off grid power, we're on battery.
Exactly.
Which will give you the heads up to say, hey, listen, let's monitor these loads, let's be responsible about how we're using this power, right?
Exactly.
Yep. So we got a couple more questions. Tom asked another one. Do you offer financing for full install?
Yeah, so that's a hard yes. We have a lot of different ways to finance this. So there's no money out of pocket, just the same way that we do solar. So yeah, that's a hard yes. It is fully financed.
And we got another one from Robert. Can the power walls be installed externally or only inside the home?
So that's a great question. So technically they can be installed inside or outside. Tesla recommends an indoor installation when possible because they are affected by temperature. And we get temperatures here that are pretty cold. So you will notice a difference in performance if you have an exterior installation. There are a lot of other considerations about where we can install the battery, and like I said before, the best way to figure that out is to have one of our site evaluators in the house taking a look around and trying to find the best location for your home.
Thanks, Tom. We got one sale already. Thanks, Tom. Love it. So one of the Brendan said, if we have a 26 panel system and bought a Tesla car, since the car I have a $200 and $300 a month bill, will the Powerwall help to alleviate using grid power? The answer is yeah. You're going to be tied in. The way that we set the systems up right now, we set them up as strictly backup power. What I am telling you, early adopters, take this as the gospel, okay? Between 2020 and 2021, you will hear something come out called a time of use rate code. So PSE&G and LIPA will be shifting from a rate code like a 280, 281 that you have right now, or a 180 rate code, and going to time of use, the same way California is and the same way many other places are. What a time of use code means is that when you draw power in the middle of the day, okay, from whatever time that is, from 12 to 5 p.m., it could be at 40 cents a kilowatt hour. At night, it's going to be less. But when the island needs it the most, that's when the power is going to cost the most. All right. So what this Tesla Powerwall is going to be able to do is you're going to be able to take that power, shift it into your system. You're going to be able to program your car charge to charge only at night when the power is more cost effective. That's the beauty. That's this aggregate program, and that's what's coming to Long Island. So you early adopters are good. Right now, this is a super convenience. Right now, it's configured to use as backup. But mark my words, it's a short matter of time before we move to this rate code, and that's when you're going to see solar explode again. And you're going to see battery storage. I want to give you an example, like in Puerto Rico and Hawaii, kilowatt hour rates, whereas we're paying about 20, some of the 21 cents a kilowatt hour. In Puerto Rico and California at peak times, it's 50 cents, 48 cents a kilowatt hour. Okay, so right now my fellow integrators, my fellow solar guys that I have relationships with, they're selling every single solar system is coupled with battery, every single one, because the return on investment is just so tiny, because you're able to utilize you cycle this thing, and you cycle this thing every single night. In California, it's about a 1 to 3 right now, okay? 1 to 2, meaning every single solar system, for every 2 solar systems, maybe there's 1 Powerwall. Every 3 solar systems, there's 1 battery system. Right now, listen, it's new in New York. It's new on Long Island, and it only started because of the rebate programs. But for you early adopter people, you're able to take advantage of a very robust rebate, a tax credit, so that when this happens, you guys are sailing smooth.
And if I can add a point to that, your system, as it's installed now, will be configured for backup use only, but switching to a time of use scenario is as simple as a software configuration thing that we can help you with through our service department.
Right.
Phil, you would be able to speak to that.
So Gary asked, I currently have 25 panels from you guys. Thank you, Gary. Love that. How many Powerwall units will I need? This thing keeps coming out. And will the benefits of additional battery units? So again, if your 26 panel system is bringing you to a 0 at the end of the year, all right? It's probably more than likely a 1 Powerwall kind of installation, right?
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of factors at play there.
We got to dig in. We got to dig into what you use, when you want to use it, and how long you want it to last. That's really what it boils down to. Listen, it takes about, I'll give you an example, it takes about 25 300 watt panels. I don't know what you have on your house or something like that, but it takes about 18 times 3 is 3, 18 is about a 6,000 watt solar system to fully charge a Tesla Powerwall from 0 to 100% in a day. So all these things come into place with the engineering. We love getting involved in this and figuring it out and managing your expectations the right way and say, listen, if you do this, it's going to do that. If you do this, it's going to do this. Every single site is specific. The same way that we handled every solar system is a custom installation, and we work with your electric bill and your financing needs. This is kind of how we use Tesla Powerwall as well. I currently have. I want that to stay
So on that note, most homes are going to need 2 Tesla Powerwalls for a full home backup system to run anything, because each Powerwall will only provide up to 30 amps.
Correct. Yeah.
Every Powerwall you add to that will add an additional 30 amps to that rating.
Right. So the sweet spot right now that we're finding is a 2 Powerwall installation on most of our installations, which could be around $21,000 depending on the difficulty and where it is and pipe runs and stuff like that.
That also gets you the full.
That gets you a $6,250 rebate plus a 26% tax credit on that. And once this time of use comes in, and once you're able to use that power on a nightly basis, no brainer that it's going to pay itself off quick. We do have another question from Judy Goodleaf. Does this apply if you have solar panels but don't own them? So what we're finding out a lot is we have, SUNation has about 5,000 to 6,000 solar systems deployed out there, but we also service another 5,000 systems from companies that are, either they're orphan systems. The companies that install them are no longer here. A lot of them are leasing companies like Solar City, Direct Energy, NRG, blah blah blah. So, so the answer to that question is likely yes, we can install a battery on that, but we'd have to look at your contract, what you size, without knowing the name of the company and looking at the contract. I want to make sure that you're not in jeopardy of avoiding your contract with that company and exposing yourself. But we're happy to look into that kind of a thing also. Greg asked, so if we have a solar want to test, well, I have a Solar City system, can I add a battery? Solar City, we've had good, in looking at the contracts, we've had a lot, especially since Solar City was taken over by Tesla. So Tesla, Solar City, it's working out pretty good. They want this kind of stuff deployed. So what are the pros and cons of a Tesla Powerwall? So what are the pros and cons? You want to take that one?
Yeah, I'm going to say the biggest pro, if you have solar already, is that if there's a power outage, your system isn't going down. You're going to get to keep your system running. That works if you have a power purchase agreement. If you have a lease, it's going to keep that system running. It's going to continue that discounted rate or just producing your energy. That's the biggest pro. As for other pros...
Oh, it's also very cool.
It is very
It's cool to have a Powerwall.
Also, as an alternative to a backup standby generator, this thing is silent. It doesn't make a sound.
No emissions either. You don't have to worry about smell.
You don't have to worry about refueling it because the sun's doing that for you in a solar integrated system.
Right.
Yeah.
The cons. So here, I'll take the cons. The cons in Tesla Powerwall 1, which I have in my facility right now, which is the one we first tested, the con is that there is no con. The con is that it's a little costly right now. But for those that are willing to go into it, listen, you knew that when you went in for a solar system, okay? It wasn't the cheapest decision to make. It was a cost-effective decision. There's a long-term payback, okay? That's another one of the pros of the Tesla Powerwall. With Tesla, it's really cool technology. They've really put a lot of R&D into this product. It's reliable. Their software app is easy to use. It's easy to understand. The company, from a service standpoint, is fantastic. So there really is no con that we've had. The only con that I see is that if you have a 5,000-foot house with eight tons of air conditioning and a pool going and an electric heater on the pool, and you expect this thing to run for however long the power's out, it's not accurate. You have to have a relationship with your power consumption. If not, then you're a generator candidate. And I've got news for you. With the way that natural gas is right now, your option is propane, because you're probably not going to get a whole lot of applications approved for natural gas. All right. So the only con that I see is it's a little cost, but again, without money financing, if we can finance the whole thing, it's no different than the leap of faith you took on a solar system.
Very
Another
true.
one?
Yep, we got another question. This one's
This
from
is
Brian.
so much fun.
Brian's asking, is there a warranty? If so, how long is it and what does it cover?
Okay, so the warranty on this is 10 years.
10 years, yep.
You want to speak a little bit more?
I don't know too much about the specifics of the warranty. We can definitely look into that and come up with more information.
Yeah, I know that it
Yeah.
covers 10 years on the battery.
Right.
That's going to include a certain percentage of its ability to charge and discharge is going to stay above around 85-90% over those 10 years. It's not going to degrade more than that, otherwise they'll replace it. And then, of course, overheating, stuff like that. It has a built-in water cooling system, so that is also going to be covered under the warranty. Those are really the only things you have to worry about with this. The communications device is also something that's covered under that warranty. But if you have SUNation handle that in the install, you can always give us a call. We may be able to get out there to get that resolved.
And
for you in the
Tesla's
service
really, of
department.
all the companies that we work with, again, Tesla's a U.S. company, and they're not letting this thing fail. This is Wall Street's not letting this company fail, and their cars are kicking butt right now. Their stock is through the roof right now. So from a warranty standpoint, they're going to stand behind it. Again, the relationship that you have with SUNation is you're buying SUNation and we're using Tesla. The same way with your solar system. Yeah, you have a warranty with LG or Panasonic or SolarEdge or Enphase or whatever, but ultimately, when the system's not performing, you call us and we're here. And we have a whole full staff to do that.
So, quick shout out to Harry for helping us in the comments section, answering some people's questions before we even get to them.
Harry's in Florida.
And he's still working. Look at
Okay.
him go. So we got Rich with another question.
All right.
I'm about to have a system installed by you guys in a
Thanks,
few
Rich.
weeks. I'm currently going to hold on adding a battery in the future. Is there any equipment or wiring that can be done now to better prepare adding down the road?
Rich, it's a great question. So what I'd like you to do, we're going to write that one down, and one of our engineers is going to call you directly. When we get to the site, we're going to see, typically it's plug and play, but the answer to that question is we need to know where the Tesla Powerwalls are going to go before we can answer that question.
Yep.
That's really important for the wiring, for the code compliance and stuff like that. But I'm glad that you asked that question, because now we can have the engineers reach out for you. And if it's a simple modification of this or that, we'll do that on the solar install.
All right,
We
we
got
got
another question
Christopher.
here, too. I think this was a
This
call-in
one.
question.
Hey Harry, you're
Yeah.
stealing our thunder here. Thanks for answering the questions online, but go back to Florida. All right. Can a solar system charge a Powerwall if you lose grid power? That's exactly the beauty of it. Typically, as Mike said, in the past, if your solar went out, it dropped out your inverters because, for safety for the guys that are working on the grid. And you had no solar and you had nothing going for you. Right, with this system, what it does is it acts as that automatic transfer switch. It has the sine wave capabilities of mimicking the grid so that it works, so your solar panels are working, feeding your house, and it's charging your battery all at the same time. So hopefully, again, you manage that power. You don't want to exceed that. You always want to keep your battery going and your solar and stuff like that.
Yeah, and as Scott mentioned earlier, if you manage your usage, you could perpetually keep regenerating that power and using it, and you could stay up and running for an indefinite amount of time, theoretically.
Yeah. Okay. What
So
else?
we got another one from Christopher here. How long does it take to pay off after rebates and tax credit?
So if you were paying out of pocket, I believe, let's see, 14,000, 13,000 on, it's probably going to be about 7 years, something like that. But it's 7 years today using it as a convenience. What's interesting, if you go on Tesla's website and look at their cars, when they work out the lease payment or the purchase payment, if you look in the fine print, they actually look at that payment and they add in the fuel savings. So whereas it may be a $450 payment for the car, they're actually putting it down as $250 because you're going to save $250 worth of gas. They don't really take into effect that you have to produce electricity to charge that car. But the answer is that in a very short time, I can't tell you exactly because the rates are going to go up, the time of use is going to happen, and all of those things impact the return on investment the exact same way the solar system worked.
And that's what it is, an investment.
Right. What else you got?
All right, so we got Brendan. How much are the rebates and tax credits? So just for everybody just tuning in, this will be available, the full stream, after it's over at 7 o'clock. So you'll be able to go back, see any questions we may have already answered, if we don't answer all the questions. So we did get that one already. Just a quick overview of those rebates.
Yeah, so the rebate is $250 per kilowatt hour on the power. So on a single Powerwall, it's $33.75. And on a two Powerwall, it caps out at 25 kilowatt hours. So it's going to be, this just in.
That's for Tesla.
It's $62.50 on what do you call it? On a two Powerwall,
yeah.
and then it's a 26% tax credit. This just in from Tesla. Okay, the Tesla has a 10-year warranty, then 70% minimum capacity of the 13.5 kilowatt hours available. That's a really heavy-duty warranty.
They called in just to correct me.
Yeah, that comes directly from Tesla, who's online right now, our rep. Thank you. Also, what I found out is it has the warranty also, we talk about cycles. How long will a battery last? How many times will it recharge? Whereas the Tesla Powerwall 1 was only 5,000 cycles, meaning that it discharges, recycles. The Tesla Powerwall 2, like this one, 37.8 megawatt hours of throughput with unlimited cycles for the 10 years. So they're really, when I say this is robust and they've worked out all the kinks, they've really, they put their money where their mouth is on this kind of stuff. I can tell you the other thing about the Tesla Powerwall is the software. Like when you see this app, it's fun, it's interactive, and it works. It's something that you want to look at during the day. It monitors a bunch of other stuff. One of the other questions that we have from Tommy, can a Powerwall be added to an existing contract? My permit was just approved, but the system not yet scheduled for installation. What I would say to you, Tommy, is the same thing that we had with this other question about you have the intention of going with a Powerwall. Let's make sure it's installation ready for your home. I would say jump in, since the solar system's already through the system, and get ready to be installed. Don't stop that. Let's go forward with the solar system, and then we'll come backwards, but make sure that the Tesla Powerwall is plug and play, ready for the system. Questions about lease systems. The lease systems are all gonna circle around an individual contract. I love being involved. Oh, hold on, go back. I was just worried about the return on investment. Love my SUNation. Christopher loves his SUNation system. Shout out to Bob Meineke. Only had one electric bill that was of note, and it was last month. If there's anything else, pop on in. Let's see. Other questions.
Open.
So I have an existing from solar system. Pros and cons. Are there incentives? Can a system charge a Powerwall grid? Okay, here's one of the interesting ones. The Tesla Powerwall right now is on Long Island. It is not in Con Ed territory. New York City does not approve batteries at this time. For whatever their fire codes are, I'm not really sure. So this would be, what we're talking about today is a Long Island specific. There are other municipalities like Westchester approves Tesla Powerwalls, stuff like that. If you take advantage of it now, all right, you're going to get the rebate, you're going to get the maximum. Again, the tax credits, depending on what happens in November with the election, we're set to go down, I think, to a 22% tax credit after 2020. All these things impact return on investment. After 17 years in this business, what I can tell you is that, and I spoke to thousands and thousands of you guys, is it's never been I hate that system. You guys sold me down the road. It doesn't work. It doesn't produce. Every system that I've been involved in, every homeowner I've spoken to, which I just wish we did it sooner. and that's profound to say that, that we just wish we did it sooner. But, college came up, this came up, and we didn't get it. And every single time, either a rebate went down or tax credit went down. Now we're at a place right now where one of the other, interesting parts about this with this coronavirus is that most of the other battery systems are manufactured overseas. And so the deployment is going to be way slower. We're already suffering right now with solar panels that are coming from overseas that are held up. I think I have 70 or 80 jobs right now that I can't give service to. So these are made. I mean, the Tesla Powerwall batteries are made in Buffalo in that Buffalo Billions plant. I believe it's with the relationship with Panasonic. Can't quote me on that, but it's made here. It's assembled here. It's a U.S. company. It's cool and it's sexy. Tom asks, I'm a volunteer fireman. We are taking classes on fighting fires at solar systems. What are our concerns with battery backup? Beautiful thing, man. So, Tom, what I would do is I would call in tomorrow or email Scott Sousa. That's ssousa@sunnation.com. SSOUSA @sunnation.com. Our head engineer, Scott Sousa, really trains most of the fire districts on solar systems. We do this as a courtesy to these things. I don't have the answer to that questions on batteries, but he would, and he'd be happy to get on, and more than likely, he'd be happy if he's not doing the training in your firehouse, he'd be happy to add value and train the firefighters on that directly. That's a great question.
I can comment on that a little bit. Just, the Tesla Powerwall and all of our solar products that we install are all underwriter laboratory listed. They've all been tested. And as long as they're installed within the manufacturer's specifications, they've been deemed and underwritten to be safe on your home.
Yeah, I don't think he's talking about. I think Tom's more saying, okay, there is a fire in the house. It has nothing to do with the solar or the battery.
Right,
what are my concerns?
Gotcha.
Where do I shut off? What do I do? Is this hazardous? Is it going to leak? Is it going to blow up? Stuff like that.
Right.
So that's a great question. And Scott would be the one to answer on that. Did I answer that question well for you, Tom? Good. Mary Ann, gotta love my bills. Love you, Mary Ann. My bill today was $11.93. Yes, this is what we live for. Hey, David, how you doing, man? David, ex-SUNation employee, working for PSE&G, doing the good work for customer service. And again, Mike, thanks. Mike's tapping in right now. And as for Sean Beatty, he's the engineer, and he's also a volunteer fireman that can add value to this as well. So, what other questions? It is now 6:38. We're happy to stay on as long as you guys want. Talk about solar. I am so sorry there are no puppies here. Okay, but it is 6:30, and it's they're eating at 6 o'clock, so they're back with mom. As you know, we're heavily involved with dog rescue, and we have a lot of puppies. And let's see, let's have some fun here. I'll have some fun. Let's go. Here's camera 2. Camera 1. All right. So here's live motion.
Puppy vision.
So there's you can't really see them, but there's all 12 puppies in there. Yeah, can't see them. Whoop, so they're out running around. Actually, they're running around in the house right now. But so much for that. What else we have? Volunteer fireman, gotta love my bills. If it wouldn't be too much trouble, it would be really helpful for us. And a lot of people are coming in and coming out. So, the stream will be available. My email is smaskin@sunnation.com. And again, we're getting questions, about lease systems and whatnot. So I'd like to do a quick recap. Maybe that makes sense to do a quick recap. Yeah, this is the Tesla Powerwall. Tesla Powerwall number 2. This is about this thick.
I've got some actual dimensions there too, if you like. The height is 45.3 inches. The width is 29.6 inches, and it's 5 3/4 inches deep. So.
Yeah, and it weighs 250 pounds. Now, the fun part is when we're doing an installation on like this, so think about putting something that's 250 pounds on your wall. So it really takes, that's why when I say we bring engineers to the house, We really want to make sure that it's going to last forever. You know, there's a plywood backing on the wall or outside or whatever. We really want to install it. Another fun part is that if it's a 2 Powerwall installation, quite often they get stacked one in front of the other.
We can actually stack up to 3 Powerwalls away from the wall. They do have to be at ground level if we're going to be stacking them, but we do have some flexibility with mounting options. I think we installed a job recently with 4 Powerwalls, and we had 2 pairs of Powerwalls stacked next to each other.
Yeah.
And that's a really nice looking installation.
So this is also, let's give a, okay.
I think that may be posted on the page.
Yeah, so this is another, you know, that's kind of like what a 2 Powerwall installation that we just completed in somebody's basement.
Not the best photo, but you can check out the Facebook page.
Right. Yeah, yes.
Is SUNation a certified Powerwall installer? Yeah, we are. And
Hell
actually,
yeah, we're a certified Powerwall installer.
And myself and probably about 24 other members of our team have all traveled to Tesla's facility for individual training from Tesla employees on installation, design, commissioning, and service of the Tesla Powerwall.
Right. So again, you know, we'll recap. If you have a lease system or a power purchase agreement with one of, you know, a Solar City or whatever, we need to look at the contract and make sure, just because it's a lease system and you don't own it, doesn't mean that you can't have a Tesla Powerwall. So it's important that we look at the contract, make sure we're not voiding the contract. Of all things, Solar City is probably going to be very friendly for this because, again, Tesla took over Solar City, so there's that Elon Musk relationship. So I don't think that would be a problem. But we want to look at your thing and make sure that it makes sense for you to go and you're going to be able to get the benefits of it. There is no downside. It's silent, it's quiet, it's super cool for backup power, and it has really good capacity. You know, as I said, it's not going, we sell this as, and we represent the Tesla Powerwall and battery storage in general as a whole house solution that you own the relationship between the power and the battery, okay, between you and the power. Meaning that you can't expect to live it during a power outage and do everything that you want and like nothing ever, unless you live, you know, with a very small consumption. Then it could last continuously. But you have to understand what you're using, and you have to understand when, you know, when you're overusing, how to consume, when to consume. The ultimate goal is that, you know, especially living on Long Island, is that when the power goes out, your heating system is working. Okay, heating systems don't draw a lot of power. You know, oil and gas fired systems don't draw a lot of power. Heat pumps do. You want your refrigerator and freezer working so your food doesn't spoil. You want a little convenience and lights. You want your smoke detectors working, especially, okay, because, you know, during an outage. But those particular loads, they're very small, they're very nominal. If you want your air conditioning to work, again, there's constraints that a system has, but there's constraints that you generate. You know, if you went to Home Depot and you got a 5 kW generator system or a 7 kW generator system that worked off gasoline, you're not running your, you know, 3 tons of air conditioning, 4 tons of air conditioning either.
If you try to fire up your air conditioner on a 5 kilowatt generator, there's a spike in what's called inrush current, and it can damage your generator. The same thing goes for the Powerwall. However, if we size the system accordingly, and there's also other measures we can take so that you could theoretically run air conditioning. You know, the system is scalable, but like Scott said, you really have to manage your expectations. And the best way to do that is to have someone evaluate your home and the loads associated with it, and then size the system accordingly to your needs and expectations. And
it's really important that we don't go off into the weeds. You know, we can complicate this and go into your electrical system and put different panels in and break circuits out. At the end of the day, if you can manage your loads responsibly, then you don't really have to worry about that kind of stuff. And every time we get into electrical work and you start branching circuits out and stuff like that, it adds cost, which decreases return on investment. I want to show this to everybody because my Gina just said this. So when you're interested, go to www.sunation.com/Tesla Powerwall. All right, everybody take a picture, take a screenshot of that. All right.
We can probably post the link in the description.
We'll post the link on that also. So I would like to if there's any other quick questions, if not, what I'd like to do is, if this added value, if this asked some questions, please email us, let us know that this answered some of your questions. I think that the goal would be also, is the next step to this would be kind of to do a webinar, not just a Facebook Live, or a combination of that, where we can actually put up all kinds of graphics and pictures of what they look like, show you what the wiring looks like, really demonstrate the return on investment and payback to these things, show you how we finance these things. But it's sort of getting to the place where this is a really smart, cool, sexy investment. It's definitely cool and sexy. It's smart with the rebates, and it's just going to grow. And if you're in on the front side when the rebates are high, you're going to be very happy. We waited at SUNation. We waited a long time to adopt the technology. As you know, most of you are solar customers of ours. We don't just rush into things that aren't proven. That because we're servicing it, and we definitely don't want to send anybody back. Anybody into the world. This is what we trade for. Thanks, Mike. So, we adopted Tesla Powerwall. They've adopted us as well. They send us to training. They're sending people in so that we can streamline installations. We have the highest level of technical service to be able to program these things and show you what the app is and troubleshoot this stuff. This is not, what I'd like to say is, from SUNation Solar, this is not, this is just a bolt-on to SUNation Solar. This is strategically going to be more and more. 2 years from now, every system is going to have solar plus storage. It's not an if, it's just a when, just like 50,000 solar systems later. So this is not something that we waited until we had the right company, the right product. There was not a lot of deployment with Tesla Powerwall 1. It had constraints. It was first to market. This is it. This is the deal right here, the Tesla Powerwall 2. There are some other ones, but they're not even coming close to the performance of this kind of thing. Bang for the buck. So, if there's any other questions? Let's see.
Nothing new yet. If anybody has questions, feel free to write in. If we don't get to your questions today, or if you have questions after the stream is ended, feel free to drop them in the comments.
Right. My cell phone is 631-831-3064. You can text me. We're at your disposal for this kind of stuff. All right. So with that being said, it is 6:48 on Thursday night. I appreciate everybody's attendance and coming in. I hope that we added value and added some and answered a lot of good questions. We're good to go.
Yeah.
Everybody, have fun, work hard, play harder, have fun, be safe. That's the motto over here at SUNation. SUNation Solar Systems. Solar as it should be.
Take care.